Hey guys, welcome back to another fun episode here on Punky's World. So for the longest time, I've had a subwoofer in the lab here, and I had posted it up on one of the websites to sell stuff. I didn't get any bites on it. I was asking kind of high on my price because it was a really fancy style subwoofer. It was a TL-1 Anthony Gallo, I think is what it's called. I put it up for an offer, and I had somebody reach out to me, said they wanted it. So I was like, okay, cool. And so I sold it at a really decent price. I've had it in my lab here forever. It's worked great. But now I realize that I'm lacking bass inside of the lab. So I went out and found somebody selling a subwoofer, and I picked it up for 10 bucks because I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't need to get anything super crazy. And I ended up with this powered subwoofer. It's made by Jammo. It's an 8-inch woofer, but it packs a decent punch, and I read some reviews on it. For 10 bucks, I'm like, hey, I couldn't go wrong there. The problem is that I didn't inspect the subwoofer speaker enough because it was a bottom firing subwoofer, and it had this cage around it, so you couldn't really tell. You could tell there was a subwoofer in there. I had it set up in the lab here, turn on some good music, and the subwoofer started hitting really nice, and then all of a sudden it just went I got into the whole thing. I opened up the cage and everything and looked at it. Turns out that it is completely blown all around the
You ever had your woofers blown before?
Now, looks like the spring and everything is intact. So that's good, but all of this foam is disintegrating. I already took apart the subwoofer. I already got the speaker out. You won't be seeing the video of me taking apart the subwoofer to get the speaker out. There's really nothing to getting the speaker out other than you had to pull the main amplifier out. The screws go in from the bottom and they go attach itself to the box itself from the bottom. This episode, what we're gonna do is we're gonna refoam the speaker. Now I've done this before because my brother had a Toyota Sequoia and it comes from the factory with 2 ohm speakers. Now it's very hard to find 2 ohm speakers in the specific size that my brother's Sequoia has. We couldn't just throw in another set of speakers and send her on her way because it has to go through the JBL amplifier. I ended up refoaming those speakers in the Sequoia and they worked well. I'm gonna do the same thing on these bad boys right here. We got a little work to do, and what I'm gonna do is I have some new rubbers. We're gonna clean off this whole side right here. We're gonna prep the surface. We're gonna end up gluing this with some special glue, and when we're done with it, the speaker should look something like this, and it should sound really good. Let's start cleaning up the surface of this speaker, and let's get this thing properly firing again, because I love some good bass with my music. So we'll start by, we'll just peel off as much of this completely disintegrated foam as we possibly can. If you have an X-Acto knife, you could do, oh look at that, I got that off in one shot. Fantastic. Okay. We want to scrape this all off so we can prep the surface. Just gonna have to take your time. It's just the nature of this game here. The more prep you do on it, the better it's gonna come out completely. You probably put some alcohol on it. Let me get some alcohol. Got a little rag. Put some alcohol in here. See if it'll help loosen it up. This speaker is a candidate for a rebuild because the coil is good in there, so this will be fine to rebuild. Now, if your speaker is collapsed and all you can push down and it just doesn't spring back or whatever, it's not a candidate to have it refoamed because it's probably dead internally. I was thinking about buying another woofer, just throwing it in there, but I didn't want to spend, $40 on a woofer speaker or whatever. This refoam kit, I think, cost me probably $8. It came with 2 8-inch rubber pieces like this. So, I mean, plus this is an original Jammo speaker made in Denmark. Might as well keep it original if we can. Okay, so my camera's overheated, typical GoPro, but I continued scraping everything off. It looks pretty good. I'm just going over with a little more goof off, and after I do that, I'm going to put some alcohol on there and really clean it up, because then the surface will be prepped so we can actually start putting on our repair rubber for it. I have alcohol and I'm rubbing that onto the frame. Just cleaning it up. Okay, so it's nice, clean. So now you're gonna notice right here, and I started trimming it off, but right here is actually some of the old cones. So if you're careful and have an X-Acto knife, you can just cut just the bit of that off, but I don't think that's gonna be a problem anyways. It won't be a problem actually. You won't even need to do that if you don't want to take that extra step. Mine was disintegrating, the parts that I did clean off. It's good, and we're just gonna be gluing right onto the edge here of this cone basically, and over to here because that's where it's going to apply to. So again, use more alcohol, clean the frame. You want to get all that goof off of there. You don't want to leave any residue. Don't be shy. Get in there and clean it off as best you can. Otherwise, the speaker glue will not hold properly. This is our rubber deal. It's going to go on top of the speaker like this. And so this is going to be the fun part, is getting this on there in such a way that it will be able to glue appropriately like that. Now I have this, it's a speaker glue. This is a T-7000. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small bead around the inner lip of the gasket, I guess you could say, or the woofer cone. I got a little sloppy on it, but you know what? We don't have to make a career out of it. All right, so I have glue going all around this. Now we're gonna let it set up for a couple minutes. This is gonna be the hard part of it all, I think, is getting this on there perfectly. I'll do my best. I'm literally giving this a college dropout try here. Looks like it turned out pretty good so far, so this is good. And now this is gonna have to dry for a bit. I'd say I let this dry for a couple hours. I'll come back out and then I will glue the rubber to the frame that we clean on the speaker. It's getting better. It won't affect it. That was my bad. I dropped something on the cone and I put a little dent in there. So yeah, I know it's got a little dent in there, but you know what? It's not going to affect the speaker. It's going to be fine. This is the important part right here. Okay, it's been about probably an hour and 45 minutes, so I think that's pretty good for us to move on to the next step, but I'll show you what we got so far. As you can see, it is glued on there, and just by pushing on it like this, it's already improved just because of this condom here. So the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to very carefully lift up, and I'm going to put just a bead going across this frame here all around this whole deal, and then I'll slowly drop this in place and push it out and flex it so that way it will glue itself onto the frame of the speaker. So here we go. Make sure your frame is nice and clean. Mine's clean. Okay, I'm going to drop this down. Gently press it. Good. And then I'm going to keep going here. I'm just going to keep going all around because by the time I go around, it'll start tacking up a little bit. Just going to drop it in place. There's a million ways to skin a cat, and this is how I do it. I'm sure there's other audiophile people out there that may have different ways of doing it, and that's fine. But this is how I'm doing mine. Now we'll go around the circle here. Just give it a little stretch out, not much because it's right where we want it. Yes, I know I got a little overhang there of some of that stuff of the glue. It's fine, I can clean it up. It is not going to affect the speaker. I don't do this for a living, so you can make mistakes. It's going to be fine. It will not affect your speaker can already feel it tacking up and getting hard, but we still need to wait. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll let it sit for about, oh, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes or so, 5 minutes. I'll just call it 5 minutes. And then I'll go and I'll push all around here again, just to push it downward. You can babysit it if you want and just keep putting pressure like this. It's already doing great things. Okay, just a little update before I put it back in the system. As you can see, the repair was successful. It's good, everything's stuck perfectly on there. So now I'm gonna install it back into the system and put the amplifier back in as well. I had to take this out to actually pull this out to begin with, so it's gonna be a little fun. I'm putting the subwoofer back in. I've been screwing it in. All right, got one more screw and then the subwoofer will be in there. Okay, the subwoofer is installed. Here's the cage. Back in business there. Okay, got the amplifier hooked up. I'm just kind of skipping across so that way it pushes the weight out evenly, I guess you could say. Let's go test it out. Dude, this thing slaps. Oh my goodness. Wow. So, the subwoofer is fixed. The repair was successful. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It sounds so good in here. Like, it's just like night and day. I was missing bass for such a long time. And I'll tell you what, for as much money as I sold that TL2 speaker versus how much money I have put into this subwoofer, I am super way ahead of the game. So cool. I brought bass back to the lab. It sounds awesome, especially when you got the band Melted Mirrors playing in the background. I love it. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Punky's World. We'll see you in the next episode. Cheers, everybody. Yeah! Success!